everyone, and welcome. I am Rhonda from Sawgrass. Thank you for coming to our Learn with Sawgrass session. Kesley's got some great projects for us today, so I'm going to go ahead and kick it over to her and let her get started. Kesley, it's all yours.
All right, well, welcome in, everybody. I am very excited about some of the projects we're going to do today. Our theme is, as you can see, I kind of have crazy hair because I kept putting different things on my head. But our theme is beach hair, don't care. So we're going to talk about all kinds of things that go on your head or in your hair. One of the projects I am super excited about is this little hair scarf that I actually sewed this. But you can get these simple, I just wanted to add the pattern on the back of the hair scarf. So I used some polyester fabric to make this little hair scarf. So I'm going to show you how not to do the sewing, but how to work with fabric and you can create something like this, or like a scrunchie you could do it with, or like a hair bandana that's scrimped up. So you can do lots of different things by just working with your fabric. We'll work with some different hats today. And another fun project that is really simple. And if you do markets or make gifts for a lot of different people, these little hair ties are very easy to make and very fun to make. Of course, we have some hair clips and then some more just go kind of, I pulled this out going off the scarf pattern. So if you wanted to coordinate with your pet, you always have the Craft Express scarf patterns to work with. So let's get started with the, these are the fold over elastic ties. So I'm going to grab my supplies. I kind of have everything staged back here. And so we're going to grab these supplies here. So I'll kind of talk about the supplies we're using. I have a roll of fold over elastic. Now, fold over elastic comes in a variety of sizes, widths, and this one happens to be 3/4 of an inch in width. And you can get a big roll of it. It's hard to find, like this was like most cost effective. I think I got this on Amazon, and I don't remember exactly the price, but it was like $5 more to get a big roll versus a smaller amount. So I went with the bigger roll. I am using for the first time basting adhesive. So I've never used this with my sublimation before. I'm really excited to show you this. I think there's going to be lots of applications down the line to do fun stuff like that. And then we have the aftermarket after you've designed your ties to display them, or these are going to be great at Christmas time. You can stick them in a stocking, or if you need little teacher gifts, these are super fun and easy. Of course, you need your ruler. And then I made a template for my little strips here. So each of these lines represents where my design will fall in the pattern. Now, as far as the printing goes, what I did was I created a sheet that has 4 different patterns on the sheet, and each of those patterns corresponds with a different hair tie. I can get 3 hair tie pieces on here, so you can make from one sheet of paper, you can make 3 different sets of hair ties. Now, if you wanted to make just 3 designs, then you could make 4 hair tie sets. So it's really up to you what you want to do. But so the next step is to do this basting. And this was really fun. So if we can go to the overhead camera, and I don't know if I have that perfectly lined up this afternoon, but if we can flip to the overhead camera, okay. Let me just get this focused in here for us. There we go. All right. So I just grabbed a recycled bag that you can just lay out, and this protects your work surface. So you just kind of lay that down, put your fabric, your pattern print onto your recycled bag, and then we're going to grab the basting adhesive. So this is a really lightweight, it's a temporary bond. I use it quite a bit in general sewing things when I need to get something to stick together. I was nervous about how it would work on the sublimation, and it was great. Now, I was thinking if you have a helper and let's say you're cranking out a bunch of these for a market, you may take and print out this sheet here, and you can print that out from your, like this is just printed on my regular printer, like, whatever my regular printer is. So this is just printed out on that. So you could queue up a whole bunch of them on there or work on your pattern paper, either way that works for you. So I'm just going to take this, and I think the directions tell you to hold it about a foot away from your surface. So we're just going to kind of hold it a foot up and just spray it. Now it kind of comes out a little goopy. Uh-oh. No, why did it stop spraying? Oh my goodness, you guys. This is the trick. Hold on, let me go see if I have another can. I'm not sure why this stopped spraying. Oh. Sorry, Rhonda. If anybody has any questions you want to shout out, let us know.
Kesley, if you have just regular spray repositioning adhesive, that will work better actually than the basting spray.
Yeah, I love this. I do have just a temporary, let's see if I have my temporary spray. So why do you like that better?
That Dritz brand is way too gummy.
Apparently. So I think this is more of a permanent spray adhesive that I have. Temporary. Okay, here's another temporary. This is by Dritz. So just pulled this out of my closet. Let's give this one a try.
It's one of those days, Kesley. It's okay.
I think so. Okay, so you can see like it kind of webs out on the paper, but it doesn't go through. So you don't have to worry about like it's not getting the paper wet or anything. That adhesive is just kind of going to sit on the top of your paper. And then I like to use, you guys have seen me use my light box a bunch. So I'll use the light box and position my sprayed paper over my printed page that has my lines underneath it. Now, what this does is it allows me to position my fold over elastic right exactly where I want to go in the pattern. So this was important for me when I was doing, I had like this one design here with the heart, and I wanted the heart to be in the center of the material. So that's where that was really helpful for me. Now, your fold over elastic has a plain side and then a side that has two shinies and a centerpiece. I don't know 100% if it matters which side you do towards your pattern, your sublimation sheet. I personally liked to have it with the shiny side down and have the flat side on the back. So that's how I'm positioning mine. My shiny side is down and that flat side is towards the back. The other trick I found with this was that I didn't want to, sorry, I have this on upside down. My other trick was I didn't want to, I can't think of it now. Sorry. Let me go like this. Okay, sorry. As you can, I don't know if you guys noticed that, but I have a little bit more of a margin on the top than I do on the bottom. So I just needed to get that flipped around. So my lines didn't go through my other design. Okay, now also when I'm putting these on, I'm careful not to stretch them out. So they're just laying on top of there on the paper, and I'm just kind of lining the lines up along the sections. You could just do one line if you wanted to. You don't have to have both lines for the top and the bottom. And I'm not looking right over it, so if it's going a little crooked, that might be why. And that's what I like to do when I do it, is I like to be able to look right over the top of the design so I can see exactly where my pattern's going. And you can pre-cut these. So again, if you're making a bunch of these, you may want to sit in front of a show. If you're watching House of Dragons, you may decide to sit in front of House of Dragons and cut up your pieces, you know, so any prep work you can do, that's kind of a mindless job. Or if you have a kid home for the summer, you need to give them a task, that's a fun thing to do. To have them do it. Now, I think these will be cute too for cheerleaders, for band camp, those kids in the band. I know Rhonda knows all about this, but they up here, our high school band is outside every day in this heat working so hard. So this would be a great little gift for the band camp. You could put the school name on it. Also, another cute little use of this fold over elastic is you can make just a hairband with this that would go all the way across your hair. I know our lacrosse players wear that. And then you can also use it like if you wanted to make a bandana scarf like I did, you could use the elastic as the part that ties it together. If you're thinking about back to school already, you could do kids' names on these strips instead of a pattern. And then you can fold it over and sew it in as a tag on clothes. If you have anybody going to camp in the summertime, that's a good use for it. And sometimes, like, if you don't want to put your kid's name in something, having a pattern is an easy way to keep them apart. So even if you're just doing it for your house, like sticking it inside somebody's underwear, so you keep whose underwear is whose. You could do that. Shorts, t-shirts, anything like that. Be very fun. Okay, so one more to go and then we're all done. Now I have my, let me make sure I have my heat press set to 400. And we're going to press these for 60 seconds. Now, I actually think I could go a little bit higher than 60 seconds. I was going to try these at 8. Thought 60, it was just a little bit, these were done at 60. So I was happy with the results here, but I think I could have gotten my red a little bit brighter by adding a little bit more temperature. So we're going to bump that up. All right, so those are all stuck on there. Now, what's really cool, no, do I need to do that? No, so I just need to take this off. When you lift this up, your pieces are stuck there. So this is where I feel like there's going to be a lot of opportunity to use that temporary adhesive, and you won't have to like worry about so much tape. Now on a tumbler or something round, I don't know, I haven't tried it there yet. I think that would be fun to see how that works as well.
Kathleen, we do have a question for you.
Yes, yes.
And that is, do you have a general length that is best for the ties and for the headband size?
So the ties I made my tie, they're about 8 inches wide. Is that what you're asking?
Yes, exactly.
Okay, so I would make your hair ties for this. These are 8 inches wide. Now I did cut this in Cricut, and I haven't made it public, but I can certainly change it so it's a public. If you look at my profile, Coach Kesley, you'll be able to find, I can make that public after the workshop, so you can get that and cut it out, and you can add your market name down there if you want. And for the headbands, I would do about 11 inch. Well, I'd probably do like 11 inches on the headbands for those. So I'm just going to grab some parchment paper here, and we'll make our sublimation sample. So I've got the sublimation you always want to be on top of your design, and then I'm just going to put a piece of paper over that. And if we can go to the overhead, we can go back to the regular camera angle. I'll put this in my heat press and we will close it up and we'll be good to go. So I'm just gonna tuck this in here. And I've got it again, 400 degrees for 60 seconds. Now I'm gonna bump this up on the time and do 80 seconds, and we'll see. I should have done half and half, shouldn't I? Let's do 70 seconds, and we'll just bump that up a little bit and see how that goes. So, and then once you've got them all made, all you have to do is trim the ends. Now you can trim them at an angle if you'd like. You can use a wood cutting blade to trim them, and that you heat that up, and then that works like a hot knife through your elastic. You can also just with a lighter lightly hit the ends of this, and that will also seal that off so you don't have, it doesn't fray down the line. And then all you have to do is tie it into knots. So what I do is I fold it in half, and then I just tie it into a knot. And you bring out your little two ends there and bring your knot to the end. Now, as best as you can, I do like to tie them the same way. It doesn't always work out that way, but so that you have like the front of your knot would be on the front of your design, and then that's how you're going to put it on your paper. Okay, we want to go back to the overhead. I'll pull this one out. Ooh, it is smoking hot. I like it when it gets hot like that. All right, so here we go. Rhonda, do it. Can you pop back over to the overhead and we can do the reveal? All right. So here we go. And I'm just going to hold down this edge here. So this will just peel right back. This gives me Little House on the Prairie vibes. This design. Now, the great thing is, again, there's no, you don't feel that elastic and spray adhesive. You can't feel that at all. It doesn't affect your design whatsoever. So all my little pieces here are really cute and really fun. And I'll just trim those edges and tie it into a knot. So you would just trim each of these edges. Again, if you do a lot with elastic or bows, I do recommend that wood burning knife. It's got different tips. You can get it. I get mine at Michael's. But it works out really well. So we just fold that over there. Now I would say if I were, I think if I were using words on these hair ties, like Go Warhawks or whatever the school name was, I would probably consider using the flat side, because then you wouldn't have that ridge through the center. On these little cute little kind of ditzy patterns, or these like little calico patterns, I don't think it necessarily matters that you have that ridge and then you get to use the shiny side. So it's really, I think, up to you as the designer, which way you like it to go. But you just are going to tie that into a knot just like that. All right, before we move on to the next, do you guys want to see this finished up so we can, I'll show you, we'll get it all done. And this really does give me Little House on the Prairie vibes, this pattern I selected. Okay. So we just kind of go like this with it. All right, then once you've got one more to go, we're going to grab our little thing. Now, if you do have a craft cutter, you can use a Caesar, you can use a Silhouette, you can use your Cricut. They all have the capability to write right on the cardstock. So if you were to do something like this for family members or for your school or anything like that, you could just write, you know, Go Warhawks, or that's our school, are the Warhawks. But you may want to do it for Christmas, Easter, Thanksgiving. Like you could do it like little giveaways at your door if you don't want to give out candy. You could do little ties instead and have some Halloween ties that are really cute. And then you're not helping the dentist out there. There we go. But I know a lot of people, like there's a trend to kind of go away from giving out candy, and you could do this. Now, also, I have not tried it, but I don't see any reason why you couldn't color both sides. I don't think it's necessary. Maybe if you're doing it for yourself, you could do both sides, but if you were gonna resell these, I don't know that you necessarily need to do both sides. And I just used medium weight 80-pound cardstock to make my little holders. You could use something a little bit thicker if you wanted to. They're a little bit, flimsy, but they cut up really nicely, and that's all you need to do. So now I've got two fun little patches. I could make an entire booth at a market with just little hair ties like this. All right. So are there any questions about hair ties or what I use? And again, I did get this on Amazon. It is 3/4 of an inch. You could do wider, but for hair ties, usually 3/4 of an inch is usually what you'll see for most people. If you're sewing though, you may want to use a thicker design for sewing. So just keep that in mind. All right, and I don't know, sorry about my basting stitch not working. I mean, not my basting stitch, my adhesive spray not working. Because that should have worked for me. Okay, so let's move on. And while we're talking about let's see, we did the hair tie. Let's talk about, let's see, I've got to figure out which one. I think I'm gonna do the patches next. So let's talk about patches. And I've got some fun patches to work on. Now, we've got you can do lots of different ball caps in different colors. One thing I like we have the sublimation type of ball caps, like this one that's got the white in the center. You can get these in all different colors, as well as, like the white one that's a little bit more puffy, but the trucker hat style is super popular. And then I have this one, which I love this hat. It was a real plain, basic white hat. But I was thinking to myself, I'm like, well, you're not going to be able to see a sublimation on there. So what if somebody came to you or you wanted to do a specific color? And that's where I thought patches would be fantastic. So I have a bunch of different patches in a variety of different sizes to show you. And I also was just going through my donation bin and I found this great trucker hat. Now, there's so many different fun ways you can wear or make a trucker hat or just buy trucker hats that are done. This was like our lacrosse team, and I thought, well, nobody's going to wear this hat, so I put it in the donation bin. And then as I was preparing for the class, I thought, well, you know what? I think I could just put a patch over that and change this from a lacrosse hat into maybe a hat for the Olympics. So why don't I go into, I'm going to share my screen and go into Design Mate. Let's see. I need to, here we go. And show you all how to do your patches. So if I just hop on into Sawgrass, let's see. We're going to launch Design Mate. Now you can select a patch design that is already done for you. So if you look for a blank, you can do a patch. Just type in the keyword patch, and the circle comes up, the oval, and the rectangle. The circle is the right size for me, so I thought that would be a great size to use. And you can just pop that right in there and go to, these are some of my favorite designs right now for summer are the Olympic designs. So I've been trying to use them on everything, but like this patch here, this round patch was perfect for my hat patch. So I can print that out and use that one. Now, if my design, let's say my patch doesn't have the right fit for what I need, I can just create a blank canvas. So that's what I did for my rectangle patch. And I did it 2.5 inches tall. And I think it was 4, let me make sure I get my measurements right. it is just shy of 4 inches wide. So we can start designing that patch. Now, if you wanted to, you could combine designs that are already done with a background. So again, let's look at those Olympic designs. All the different, this one's always a cute one for me because it has all the different balls on it, which look like the Olympic rings. So that gives me those vibes. And then if you go to the backgrounds, you can combine and add a background to this design. Now, if you add, and I hope I don't have this reversed, but if you add the background first, you lose the background when you bring in the design. If you start with the design and then add the background, it stays together. So this allowed me to have the design that was already done from DesignMate and adding the background. Now I do want to point out some of the backgrounds will have these little diamond stars by them, and that means that they are part of, Rhonda, give me the right words here. They're part of the program. So if you sign up for DesignMate to use the content, that content is in there, and you can
Yes,
use that.
so if you're a DesignMate Plus subscriber, you get any of the content with the diamonds, but all the content, anything without the diamond is available to anyone using the program.
Thank you.
And then it's all royalty free. So maybe that's what you were thinking. You can use it, you can sell it, you can do whatever you want with, and you don't have to get any special permissions.
Yes, and I think that is fantastic. As what a bonus that is. If you're going to market or something like that and you want to use a design that is in your DesignMate, you can go with confidence knowing you're not using any copyright issues or anything like that. So I'm sure that having the baseballs in that ring shape is the or the different ball sizes in the ring shape is the workaround for that. So while that's coming into DesignMate, I'm going to adjust my flatbed heat press to 395 degrees for 60 seconds on these patches. So I'm just going to pop that down to 395 degrees for 60 seconds. And let's see, there we go. Okay. So once that comes into DesignMate, I'll show you, or into PrintMate, I'm going to show you how you can easily go from that one patch design to an entire sheet of patches, which I think is great. You can take your patches and put them all down at one time and sublimate all of them, sublimate 6 patches at once, or you can cut them apart and do just as many patches as you need. So that would allow you, if you're doing a market or something, to have some ready to go, but also have some on file that you don't necessarily press on the patch until you're ready. Now, one thing that I thought was really cool about that is I saw this lady at a farmer's market that had a hat stand, and you could go and pick up all these different pieces like patches and things like that, dimensional items that you could put onto a hat, and she would press the hat right there in person for you. So I thought that was kind of a fun thing to do. Okay, so if we can go back to the overhead, I'm still waiting for that to come through. My connection, I think, is a little bit slow today. So this gives me a little trouble. So you'll see that with your patch, you have that bleed around the edge. So you'll have like room on the edge of your design to work with. So you don't have to worry about going all the way to the edge and fitting it perfectly in the circle. You do want to fit it into the circle as you can. Now on the back of these patches is a iron-on material. So once you've done your heat setting and your design on the patch, we'll be able to swap that over and put it right onto your hat with another heat press. The only thing is you've got to make sure it has that plastic piece still on it. So if I put this on the heat press without this plastic piece on it, it's going to stick to my pattern. So this one has the black stitching around it, and this one has the white stitching around it. So we'll be able to see how those turn out and which one you guys like better. So I'm just going to kind of put that on there like that. Okay, and then we'll use our sheet of paper and block this out. Ron had mentioned that we were working on an issue, and I think I need to close my computer because it's not communicating super great. So I may not get that rectangle patch printed out. Now, again, we're going to make our sublimation sandwich. So you have your blowout paper on the bottom, your blank, and then your sublimation paper on top. So we've got our little sandwich there, and then we'll put an extra piece of blowout paper on top of that. So it does say it's processing over. Looks like it's just working. It's working really hard. Okay, so I'll go back to my front camera, and we'll give this a minute and give it a press. So for the patches, 395 for 60 seconds, and we'll put that right in there and let that go. Now, let's see how that's doing. Okay, now it says it's downloading my artwork. Processing my data. I can show you guys this, what I'm seeing. I was stuck in a loop, and like I said, I think I need to close my computer and restart it because it's my error. So that's kind of where it is right there. I'll give it another minute and see if it comes over while this is pressing. And then I'm going to use the heat press to the hat press to put this on my hat. And then I also have this hat, which let's see if I got this one to print as well. No, okay. We may have to come back to finishing off our hats. But no worries. So I'm just going to lift that off. And you'll be able to see. So this is why you want to use your blowout paper, because you have some of the color that went on the back paper. And if I didn't have this in place, that would unfortunately end up on my mat or on the back side of my printer. But there's one patch with the black rim around it, and then the other patch with no black trim. No, the thread was white. So this one has the black around it, and this one has the white around it. Kind of fun to see those differences. Okay, so let me see how I'm doing over here. It's still processing data. So let's see. I'm going to close that.
You may just want to close PrintMate. You got a lot of tabs open too. So you may just want to close PrintMate and open it and then resend it. See if that fixes it.
Yeah, let's try that. It's good to be able to see how we troubleshoot things. Let's try this. Okay, so I'm going to open and PrintMate again. Seems like it's working. All right. No, you know what I think I need to do? Let me do something. Let's see if I can do this. I'll share my screen so you guys can see what I'm doing. So we're just going to share my whole screen. And I'm going to go ahead, instead of opening it in PrintMate there, I'm going to try and open it see. In my programs down here, open PrintMate. Because like Rhonda said, I do have a lot of tabs open in the PrintMate itself. So, nope, it's still thinking. Let's quit PrintMate there and let's try that again. All right, so we're getting a reloading of PrintMate, which is great. And here are some of the designs that I had before. I'm going to close those out because I don't really need those right now. And let me go back into Design Mate and we'll open that up in PrintMate and see, let's see if that works this time. All right, there, that's what I needed to do. Okay, so when you have an image in your on your design, what you can do is multiply that to print that out multiple times. So if I were to want to create, say, 6 of these at one time, I could just increase the repeat and it would add those onto the page. Let's see if that works. That should give me 6 of the same design on one page. And then all I have to do is print that out and I can work with that single design. And I can put that on a badge, like on a patch, or I can put it on directly onto the sublimation hat, which I actually was going to, I want to do this on the patch, but since we're here, now I'm going to go ahead and close this out. That design out, and let's go back into Sawgrass Exchange here. And this was another file I had that I was working on for another hat. Like it was going to be the black hat with the trucker style hat. So let's print that one out and see if we can get that one going too. I've got my fingers crossed. All right, there we go. So I'm going to print that one out so we can do all of the hats at one time. So that's a very small design there. If you wanted to make more of them, you could. You could even increase the size of it if you wanted to, but the 4 1/4 by 2 1/4 is actually the size I need. So I'm just going to go ahead and select my polyester. It's going to go on a hat. I want it mirrored. If I wanted to, I could print out, 5 or 6 of them at once, but I just need one. So we're going to stop share that one. And we'll do this other patch. So we can kind of see how that's going to go on a hat that already has a design on it. I think that if you like thrifting, that is a very fun process that you can create. Take a thrifted hat and do a design on it of your own kind. So if you have teenagers that like to thrift and they want to do their own designs, that's a great way to do it. During Halloween costumes, really fun ideas too for that. We got this. Okay. I just like to use sometimes printer paper to make my sandwich instead of the standard parchment paper, or butcher paper. So I'm just going to put those right in there. I've got my temperature at 395 for 60 seconds. I'm actually going to bump this up to 400 and do my time for 80 seconds. And this is just a test. I always like to practice with you guys and say, hey, if I go darker, what happens? And we have a good comparison here. So I need 400 degrees for, yep, okay, 80 seconds. And that's just going to take a second. But you can see I have all of these extra printouts I can use to save those, put them on patches. use them for other things like a little bag or something like that if I wanted to. Lots of different options there. That should only take about, that should not take so long to heat up. So the other option, where did it go? Here we go. There we go. All right, 400 degrees for 80 seconds. We're gonna pop that in. A hair clip like this, a claw clip, these are really easy to do. Give yourself a nice design, make it a little bit bigger, and then you can take your two leather, it's a faux leather claw clip. Now, just keep in mind that when you put those on a clip, the curved side is going to be down. So see how that curved side is down and the flat is the top of your pattern? Same on here, your curved side is down. So when I put these on my paper, and I'm going to trim this down here. What I like to do is make it so that where that curve is would be in the middle of your design. So when I put it on the paper, I'm going to match that down so the curve is together. That way, if you put them both with the flat side facing the same way, then your one design would actually end up being upside down, I think. So you're kind of like going like that if you're looking at it back to back. So if you were going to put like a name on it, you're going to do like Nana on it or something like that, like go up and down that way, you'd have to take into account where that curve is. This is kind of an all over pattern on this design, so you don't have to worry too much about that. But I'm just taking that into account for this. And I'm going to pop that right in here for 60 seconds, 400 degrees for 60 seconds. There we go. Okay, 400 degrees for 60 seconds. And we'll make that sublimation sandwich, putting it your blowout paper, your blank, your sublimation paper, and then your another sheet of blowout paper. Okay, and then our patches. So these we did at 400 for I think 70 seconds. And I see how these turned out. Isn't that cool?
It's so pretty and so vibrant.
I love this. I kind of think I like the black trim around it. Anybody have any
I
other
do
choices?
too. I like the black trim. It finishes it really nicely.
It does. I love it. I love it. All right. I have I don't know if we're gonna have time to show. I want to do the hats, Rhonda. So I think I'm gonna run out of time. So while that last my hair clip is going, I'm just gonna talk about this. So you can buy scarves, collars for like your pet that is already in the shape of a scarf. But if you wanted to do a hair scarf, all you need to do is take polyester. This is a 100% polyester satin finish that I used, and I started off with a 16-inch rectangle and just cut it on the diagonal right across there. Now, again, you could take that fold over elastic and put it along the top and use it to tie. I made some bias tape and sewed just a pattern on the back, and then took a saying from one of my favorite poets, "Live your life flawed and beautiful." And this is just a little hair tie. So I don't think we'll have time to go into that too much. Let's finish off our claw clip, and then we can do our last of our hats. And I think I'll be good on time. Oh, that's so pretty. Okay, so what we're gonna do is, all I have to do is add you'll have pieces of that come with your clip. So you have a clip, you have the leather and the adhesive part. Now, sometimes you can find just the leather and it doesn't have the clip with it. So you kind of want to be aware of that and make sure you have the clip that goes with the leather, and you're not just getting the leather parts. So all you have to do is peel off one side of this I keep saying elastic, the adhesive, it's double-sided adhesive. So you're going to have one side that you're going to adhere to your design. And ignore me about putting them with the middle sides together, because you can see the pattern did it is different. This is an all over pattern, so it doesn't make that big a difference, but please ignore me about setting your designs together. I think I just was thinking if you're adding a name to it, you want to just be mindful of that arch. So if you're customizing these the claw clips, you just want to be mindful of that. But otherwise you can put them on both facing the flat side up. Okay, so we're just going to push that on, and then just that adhesive will stay onto that leather piece. Grab your clip and put it right on there. So again, think about these if you're doing gifts for people. This is a fantastic little add-on item if you're making gifts to give. So this clip, along with those hair ties, I think I set them to the side. Let me grab those again. That would make such a cute little package gift for somebody. And then if you wanted to, you could add some, toiletries in there or anything like that, right together, and make an adorable little gift for somebody. Okay, I'm grabbing my heat press hat from Cricut, the Cricut heat press, and all I have to do is just plug that in and turn it on. And it's going to automatically heat up. I'm just going to do it for the first one, I'm going to do the patches. So I just need a light, probably medium, since I'm not doing the infusible on the first one. I'm just doing the patches, not the sublimation. So it doesn't have to be super hot. Now, what you're going to want to do is use the ham. If anybody sews, a ham helps you contour your design. So we'll just take that Velcro off the back, fix it right into the hat as if it's your head sitting inside the hat. And if you want to, you can re-Velcro it, leave that off. So we've got that right there. And then I'm just going to put one of these patches, I'll peel that backing off and expose the iron-on side of it. So it does seem like it that iron-on part held that paper together on there, but it doesn't. It comes right off. Okay, and then we're gonna put that on. And I kind of I'm liking the black outline on that. So I can just line that right up on the seam of the hat and put some tape right onto there. So it'll kind of hold that in place for me. I'm using heat resistant tape. If anybody's a beginner, you're not familiar with the tape, I am using special heat resistant tape so I can use it with these high temperatures of material. If you wouldn't want to use just like Scotch tape or something like that on this. And then we're going to use a piece of butcher paper. between the heat press and the patch. Now, again, this is just a patch, so I don't have to worry about how long I keep it on there to, transfer the color. I just need it long enough to transfer the actual patch. So I'm just going to use a little tape here, be an extra pair of hands for me on the side. Okay, and then I'm just going to take this, hit the go button, and start pressing it on. Now, when I do the sublimation part of this, I won't move my hat around, but with a patch, I just need enough to heat up that adhesive and get it to stick onto the hat. I'm not transferring any color or anything, so I just need that to kind of stick on there. And I can move that around the hat. And I'm using like a light pressure. It's not a really heavy pressure. So I'm just using a light pressure on this, almost like using it as an iron and getting that shape that I want. We'll just test it. Use a little bit more heat up on the top on the edges here. Let's get down in there. That's a nice thing about using this heat press is it does have that curve and it goes against the hat really nicely and you don't burn your hands by having them underneath or anything.
Kesley, have you tried doing this style patch where you do the sublimation and adhere it all at once?
I have not. As you can see when I put the patch on, the patch kind of stuck up here. It's a little bit bigger than the recommended size. The recommended size and the height is usually 2¼ inches. This patch happens to be 3 inches. So I think you'd have to move this around. And I don't know about you, but whenever I move my sublimation stuff, I always worry about getting any shadows or anything like that.
Yeah, because
So
when I do the sequin patches on my large press, I do it all at once.
do you use a hat press, the Cricut hat press, or do you use a hat press, a clamp hat press?
No, I'm sorry, I was not clear. I've never used a hat press. I've never actually done patches on a hat.
Okay.
And now I am thinking because you always make me spend money.
I expand
Okay.
your options.
Yes. So I was just thinking if, the handheld one and doing the sublimation would work the same way. I put the sequined patches on jean jackets for my granddaughter. So
Oh yeah. Yeah, and to be honest with you, with the patches, it would make it so that you wouldn't have to buy necessarily a hat press. Like if you wanted to get in the hat business, but you didn't want to invest in a hat press, because I think you could just do this with an iron as well. Like to put the patch on,
yeah.
the hat press is nice because it's got that curve and everything, but I would probably, as a beginner, like if you're just getting started with it, I would struggle through working with my iron initially until I was like, oh yeah, this is something I want to do a lot more of. And then you could add the hat press. Because really on like the trucker hats, like this size hat, the recommended size is only 2¼ by 4 inches. So it's much smaller than I personally think I would do on there, but that's why I like this hat because I could do it. It just gave me more room to play with it.
Right.
So I'll show you. I have one more hat to do. That is fun. So there we go. Now I've converted this hat from a coach's hat. Oops, I got a little spot up there I need to get. I've converted this from a lacrosse hat specifically for my local lacrosse team into a hat now for the Olympics. Again, great for thrifting, upcycling your items. Kids, like the teenagers are so into that right now. As they say, it's, what do they say? It's smegma sigma. All right, so there we go. There's that hat. Now my last hat is actually, this is a Cricut trucker hat, blank here that I've got. And you're gonna take out that cardboard piece and open up your hat. So the inside, you're gonna open that part up. We're gonna stick our ham right in there. Bring that seam, you're gonna have your seam up on the hat. And I'm gonna increase my temperature on my hat press to that highest setting on this one. Because, and I'm putting it on the highest setting because I'm doing the sublimation directly on the hat. So this one, I've got this little design here that I want to put right on the hat. So I'm going to go ahead and do my tearing here. And just tear that so I have those feathered soft edges. And this is a skeleton with mermaid hair. And so I'm just gonna press that right onto my hat. So again, I'm gonna put it on there and use my tape and really tape that down so it doesn't move, because with this kind of technique, I absolutely do not want my design to move. If my design moves, then I'm gonna get some of that shadowing. If I need to, we're gonna go like that. So I just kind of did that, a little tear there, so I can get it to go flat as best I can. Now, I probably should have done the heat up on my hat. Just give it that like 10-second heat up on the hat. Don't forget to do that. You can also lint roll it so that you don't have any heat on there. I mean, any lint or anything on there. And then now for this I'm gonna hold it in place and put lots of pressure on it. So using that ham allows me to really push into this hat. You can see my knuckles are getting white. I'm really pushing into it. I've hit the start button, so the temperature's going, it automatically has the temperature for sublimation on here. And you can think about like mixing media too on these hats if you're doing sublimation, and then you can mix the design in with a little, mix it in with a little vinyl or glitter or anything like that, like rhinestones you mentioned, using rhinestones. That is fun. So I'm really just pushing down on this. I want to make sure I don't hit that thing. If I feel like I need to move it, I want to pick it up and move it, not slide it. So once you put it on there, you really want to leave it on there. And it's just heating it up. So it's like, it probably takes like a minute and a half, same as your flat press does. And we're going to come right up on our time. So if anybody had any questions, or Rhonda, if there's anything I didn't cover, let me know.
No, I've
we'll
been able to
finish
handle
up.
all the questions in the chat and the Q&A, so we're good.
You're the bomb. Okay, so now it's beeping, telling me it's done. I'm going to set that in. There we go. And there we go. There's my hat. Let me put it this way, it's upside down. So it says be chair, don't care. So if you go back to the if you go back to our main camera, so I did follow the instructions for this particular hat on with the Cricut, and it says it's 4 1/4, but you can see like this one I did much bigger than that design. Also, this hat is a much bigger size hat, but then if you use a patch, you can also go much bigger. So many fun ways to use it. I think this is probably going to be the hat I wear from now until the US comes home with all their gold medals. So thank you guys so much for joining us. I hope we've given you lots of ideas. If you want the Cricut, I will link this and make this active right now. So anybody who wants that, it's my Cricut is Coach Kesley. So you can find that right on there. And I think that's everything. And we'll see you next week.
All right. Thank you, Kesley. Great workshop.
so much.
See you next
Thank
week.
you. All right. Take care.
Bye.
Bye.